Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to react to Is Abortion Murder? Well, you should not listen to my advice. I'm really small. By Jubilee. We're gonna react now. So let's go. And one more thing, I just forgot to mention it, that I'm going to just take the important stuff out of this video because I can't edit all 26 minutes. It will take a lot of freaking time, and I'm editing at night, so I don't have that much time. I have 1.5 hours to complete this video, so let's go.
Biological fathers should have an equal say in abortions.
Biological
Well, I think
fathers
so. I
should
mean,
have
it's consistency.
equal
Like,
say in
if we're
abortions.
defining
Yeah.
that as a life, if it is life, to put a kid up for adoption, both parents have to agree.
I agree. I have talked to lots of women who've had abortions, and I've talked to lots of men who are hurting. They're completely heartbroken. They would have raised the baby. They wanted to raise the baby. They begged for the life of the baby, and they obviously created the baby together, but only one of them gets to decide if their child gets to live or die.
I would like to say, from more of a honestly feminist perspective, men have responsibility as the other parent of that child. Ironically enough, a lot of the times when pro-choice people put the focus completely on the woman, they strip the man of all his parental rights and responsibilities. And I think that's why actually a lot of men who are pro-choice because they don't want to have those fatherly responsibilities that they will have once the child is born.
You left us, man. I want to know why.
There's a struggle.
I'm mad
I like this
conflicted
guy,
about
sure.
this because I strongly feel like a man should not have control over what a woman does with her body. I more so have an issue with when a man doesn't actually want that baby. She wants it and then expects this man
okay,
to
now
like be
he's
the
talking
ultimate
facts.
provider,
That's really fucked up.
child care and all this extra stuff, right? But in the case of if the man wanted it, the baby, and the woman didn't want it, he has no say so.
Yep.
I think that's a fucked up dynamic. So that's why I was going back and forth.
Well, you should have stayed then. It sounds like you. It sounds like you're for men having more rights.
I just can't force a woman to be like, no, you have to do this, because I think it's
not.
fucked up. It's her body.
But it's also a child's life in there. It's not just her body. It's a child's
And
life in
it's
there.
also
but
your
still.
son or daughter.
I think truly, in my eyes, it's like it's my body.
No.
I get to do what I want with it, and I don't think anyone, including the other person who's involved, should have a say whether I want to keep it or whether I want to get
He
an
has
abortion.
equal rights. Stupid ad.
Abortion is murder.
Abortion is murder. No, it's not.
I think it is murder. I think for the abortionist more so than the woman. I think a lot of women don't necessarily know exactly how an abortion procedure is formed. I've had a girl even tell me that at 20 weeks a
Okay,
baby is just a
just
clump of cells, and that's just not true.
I do believe now there might be cases where some women might be unaware of what's going on in an abortion, but by and large I think especially with the advent of the internet and so much education out there, many of them do know that there's a life inside of them and they want to end that life, whether they call it murder or not.
Hard disagree. Absolutely disagree.
Okay.
I've definitely met a lot of teenage girls who grew up in our generation who believe that abortion is normal,
That's
a
all.
fetus is a clump of cells, and there is no human life in the womb. They don't tell you when you go in for an abortion consultation, this is a child and this is a human life, and that's what's going to be happening. I have a hard time believing that if most women knew they were killing a child, they would do that. I don't think women in America are that malevolent. I think it's very irresponsible and very hurtful to say, oh, this woman's a murderer because she had an abortion.
Oh no, she's not a murderer.
At least my personal experience, the people who worked there were very understanding. They let me know there is a child that could come out of you in 9 months. Are you sure you want to do this? I knew there was a child in my body. I knew I could have a child in 9 months, and I knew that that child can grow old and be their own person. But I made that choice because I am allowed to have that choice. And especially you.
Yeah.
You are a white man, and you are not allowed to say what I can do with my body, nor any of these other women who are able to carry a child.
I think that's so dangerous. I think that's so dangerous to say that you can't say because of your sexuality, who you are as a male or female, or how you believe as a religion, you can't define what's right and wrong. I think that's misguided,
You can
and we
have your
shouldn't
own
take that into
opinion.
policy.
I think what she's
If it's a
saying is
child,
that
you should have
whatever
that right.
your morality is, I think that, you know, folks are entitled, that we have freedom of religion, we have freedom from religion. Whatever your moral value is, the issue is trying to turn that into legislation and putting it on someone
Legislatively,
else.
we legislate what's right and wrong all the time.
Thinking even medically, you know, like for Indigenous women, they're 2 times as likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. Who's responsible for that murder if she's forced to carry that baby?
Well, I would be all for working on legislation altogether where, you know, if the woman's been taken advantage of, or if they've incest situations, or if her life's at risk, we can keep those options on the table.
So all of a sudden, because she could potentially die, we'll make legislation where she can abort that baby, and all of a sudden you're pro-abortion?
No, I'm not pro-abortion. I personally would not like her to choose that option. I think science
So
has
you'd
come.
prefer that she die, though,
No.
right?
I think science has come a long way where that's vastly not the case anymore within our medical community, and we need to continue to increase funding for those mechanisms to provide more research on how to keep the woman alive in those situations.
What is the end goal here that abortion be illegal and it be criminalized and removed as a resource
No.
forever from this country? Is that the
Illegal and unthinkable.
That's
illegal and unthinkable? So it is
dangerous.
culturally
For women, we want women to have resources, first of all, to where they don't need an abortion, and then abortion for the abortionist is criminalized. So an abortionist could go to jail for performing it.
First of all, nobody's gonna give you fucking resources. Okay, you have to make your own resources by getting money. If you don't have money, you have to abortion that baby. Okay? We can't help it, man. If you can't take that guy, make his life good, you can't just, well, take him as a baby. You should just abortion him. Because if you don't have money, you're fucked.
Women should not be criminalized because at the end of the day, women are victims of abortion as well.
Yeah, fine.
Abortion should be accessible to rape and incest survivors.
Okay, I didn't understand this question. What the fuck is this question?
If you're pregnant from your brother or your cousin or your father, especially if it wasn't consensual, or even if it was, you should still have that option to abort the baby. And especially if you've been raped, there are some people who have that thought, like, oh my God, like, what if when I look at my child, I relive that trauma?
Just a reminder.
And not saying that's how all rape victims view it, but it's just like some women have that fear.
I don't know.
Okay, so I was raped for 4 years of my life, violently.
Whoa. You can't do that, man. The fuck? At least give me a fucking warning, man. You can't just come out here. Confused name, bro. You can't just come out like that, man.
More times than I can count. And I did get pregnant when I was 15. My rapist threatened me with abortion multiple times. Used that as a tool to keep me in his power. If he had the power to terminate evidence, he had power against me. I did end up losing her, but I wanted her very badly. I named her Rahel, which is Rachel in English. And I think it's very important to humanize people who are conceived in rape because they're walking around right now.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and I think it's very insulting to place that on a human being. I think that humans, no matter how they are conceived, are human beings, and they deserve to be respected, and their lives deserve to be respected.
And I agree because that's me. I agree
Yeah.
100%. And my mom has always told me she doesn't view me as even on my birth certificate, he's not my father. So.
Also, I want to tap on what you said, though, because you said you really wanted to keep your daughter. And although you don't, see it as the rape baby and stuff, other people who also go through that traumatic experience may actually see it like that, right? You wanted that, but there's other people that had their a choice taken away from them. They shouldn't be shamed. They're going through this, and even having to live through that experience of the rape baby.
Here's the thing. When you get an abortion as a reaction to rape, you are continuing the cycle of violence. So you were raped, that was a violent experience that happened to you, that wasn't your fault, you're hurt, you've been victimized. Why is it fair to further victimize someone else because you are hurt?
But,
Why is it not?
you're seeing it as a someone though, man. I'm putting myself in a woman's shoes or a human being's shoes, right? You take my choice away, you rape me, and for all you know, I might be a struggling human being, right? Making $8 an hour or something like that, crazy bills. I might be living in my car, I might be sleeping under the dumpster behind McDonald's. But now because of your opinion, right, and my traumatic experience, I get shamed because I don't want to bring this life into the world, bro. Oh, but you should give birth and then put it in foster care if you don't want it, bro.
I want to touch on that too, just for a second. Like for trauma, I think absolutely what I am passionate about is giving people the choice. And for you, you thought a lot about your choice and you wanted that pregnancy. And I'm really sorry that you lost that child. And I also thought a lot about, for myself, when I went through that experience, what choice would be best for me. And for me, that was not carrying the child. And I think trauma is such an interesting thing. For me, not having control over a child growing inside of me and changing my fate of my life, you know, that would be more traumatic than the initial experience. We don't know how people are going to react, but I do fight and would want them to have the choice to do what's best for them.
People are gonna say every shit. Can't blame them.
Abortions will continue to happen regardless of the law.
Yeah. Of course. That's obvious.
All right, well.
That ain't never gonna change.
I think, of course, they'll continue to happen. A law doesn't mean that something is not going to happen at all anymore, just like rape, just like murder, just like anything else we've outlawed. Just because they're still going to happen doesn't make it right.
But if you criminalize doctors and abortion providers, right, that means we no longer have providers. That means abortion is no longer an option. And that by default, the way that this country, and especially my state, legislates will mean, and it has happened, we have precedent, a woman who tries to self-induce or who tries other non-medical methods to have an abortion can and has been criminalized. What is the policy that doesn't just absolutely take away the right that people have to access an abortion, regardless of what their beliefs are?
If that child is a human being deserving of the right to life, then yes, it should be criminalized, just like murder of 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and adults is criminalized, right?
But that's so different, though. You got people that's 2 years old, already out the womb. They've been here for years, right? And then you got these cells.
Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
When does it stop being a clump of cells?
Personally, I'm not worried about the clump of cells.
Decades of medical research has not been able to land on that answer.
And I'm trying to answer your question. As far as
do
the
you
cells,
believe that abortion should be allowed all 9 months of pregnancy?
I do feel that's a bit more extreme. So I will agree on that.
But why is it more extreme?
Wait, but let's not act like women are just deciding to get abortions at like during their second or third trimester. And the women who are doing it, it's either that they're going to die giving birth, or it's under some medical circumstances, because I doubt, even myself, I doubt that I would get to a 6-month, 7-month mark and then decide, oh, actually, I don't want to make this commitment. I feel like there's a lot of this conversation, like when does it become wrong? When it's, but like as if we're actually going to get an abortion at that time.
A lot of the what pro-life people would consider hostile pro-choice comments and things like that are a response to hostile pro-life people. And I think that doesn't get talked about on our side because we don't like to fight each other. But I think it's an important point because I've seen absolutely disgraceful comments made towards women who are going into clinics, who are obviously in a very traumatizing situation, and you don't know what that woman is going through, and they're shouting obscenities at her. And that's appalling. And I think that we need to take responsibility as pro-life people to understand they've experienced so much hurt from our side of the community.
And I agree with that, I think. But from our side of the aisle, folks are very passionate because they believe that's a life. They believe that's a baby, and they want to do everything they can to save that child. But I agree that our rhetoric needs to be there as a resource and another option. And we can do that peacefully and respectfully as well.
I think on any side of any controversial issue, you're always going to have those extremists. Same thing on the pro-abortion side. People are always going to have feelings, and people are always going to fight on that level, right? But I think it's about coming up here and saying, like, what actually makes common sense, and how do we come up with policy that doesn't force folks to live by other people's values.
Well, in the last we learned that if you should get an abortion. Yeah, you should. If you don't have money, yes. If you have money and you want it, yeah, go for it. Don't listen to my voice, man. Don't listen to me. Okay, don't listen to me. Yeah, this is very interesting topic. So, at last, is abortion murder? Well, the answer is obviously no. I don't know why it is. Well, until next time, see you.